Join me on today's episode of Dinner and a Movie, where we talk about Twilight and make bloody sangrias. Let's go.
I can read every mind in this room, apart from yours.
Hello guys, and welcome to Dinner and a Movie. This is the first time I'm doing this. If you've never met me before, my name is Jessica Johnson, and today we're going to be reviewing Twilight. That's right, Twilight. You know it, you love it, or maybe you hate it. I don't know, It's an interesting topic of conversation, but we're also going to be making my own special recipe for bloody sangrias because blood, wine, kind of looks like it, whatever. But anyway, let's get into it. So what I'm going to be doing today is making my own version. Typically a sangria is a type of cocktail that's made with wine and fruit, correct? So I'm going to be using a white wine, but I'm also going to be using a little bit, a little something different. And we're going to get into making this real quick, and we're going to talk about Twilight. So let's get into it.
Get in the car. That was a very dangerous maneuver. Hey. Look, I'm sorry.
For what?
I wish I could.
So the first thing we're going to do to make our sangria is I put a whole bunch of cranberry juice into my pitcher or blender. I like to use the blender because it has a tight seal and you can kind of shake. We'll get to that point. So let's talk a little bit about Twilight. So Twilight came out in 2008. And depending on if you read the books or not, you had very different opinions about it. I personally did not read the books. Thank God. I was in love with it at the time. It was directed by Catherine Hardwicke, right? And she's a pretty good director, but the movie honestly was a hot mess. So it's about Bella, who lives in Forks, moves to Forks for the first time with her father, and she falls in love with Edward, a vampire. But except at first we don't realize he's a vampire. More on that to come. So we just put our orange juice and our cranberry juice together. Now we're gonna put our wine. So, Edward falls in love with Bella, Bella falls in love with Edward. Problem is he wants to kill her and drink her blood, right? Right. Pause, wait.
You want me to cut?
Yeah. Anyway, like I was saying, Edward falls in love with Bella, Bella falls in love with Edward, but the problem is that he wants to kill her. That can be very complicated. So apparently he's a vampire. He's 108 years old. She finds this out after a series of events, which includes him basically telling her that she stank. Because if you watch the first scene that they meet, or the second time that she sees him, she's in her chemistry class, and he has this like reaction that's like as if he was sitting next to somebody who didn't take a bath for 2 weeks type of vibes. You know what I'm saying? It's not really the best way to come on to somebody, not really a good first impression. But anyway, she learns through that. She learns from seeing his superhuman strength that the mother is a vampire. So anyway, that's a complicated situation. Anyway, long story short, they fall in love. There's a bunch of other bad vampires that come to town and start killing people and shit. Bella's the only human apparently that knows about the vampires outside of the sexy werewolf people. More on them later. Maybe we'll do a part 2 just for New Moon. I don't know. So anyway, they fall in love and becomes complicated because Edward's like, I can't be with you, Bella. I can't love you because you're gonna die. And she's like, but I want to be with you, Edward. I want to be with you, Edward, because I love you. It's a lot of that. It's a very cringy movie. So of course they get their happy ending, and we get a little cliffhanger at the end where we see one of the bad vampires watching them from the distance, seeking revenge. I could go on a lot more about this movie, but you can go watch it. Anyway, back to this sangria. We're gonna add some fruit to this. So we got some apples, and mind you, this is me doing this my way. So if anybody watches this and says there's not a sangria, yes it is. So we're gonna add our apples to this. We have our orange juice, cranberry juice, and we're gonna put this in here. So that's the basis of the story. Things I like about Twilight. A lot of people complain about this. I like the way it looks. I like the color grading. Oh, shit. I like the way it looks. I like the color grading. I like how it's blue. It's very moody and dramatic. The soundtrack, the look. You know what I'm saying? Once Edward and Bella fall in love, he's got like the cool vampire thing going on. Slick hair and the glasses. Because Edward was the one that like everybody wanted but no one could have because he was just so ridiculously hot and pale and pasty. You know, with no blood in his veins and everyone wanted him. But then once Bella awkward came to town, he just became hot in the paints like a mother. So that's one thing I like. I like how it looks. I like their chemistry, even though they're both very awkward and strange. Oh, and I'm adding more cherries to this, by the way. It works for them. You know what I'm saying? It's cute. It's a vibe. I know back in the day when I was watching Twilight, I definitely was feeling types of ways like, man, I hope I find somebody like Edward someday. And that's toxic as because I don't know if anybody should deal with anything like that. I mean, if you really watch the movie, he wasn't such a good guy. He wasn't the best. We're gonna top this sangria off now by adding more wine. I'm just gonna add more wine. All right, and then pretty much that's it. So oftentimes what people do is they let this, I like to say ferment. I don't think that's the proper way to say it, but you kind of just let the ferment and sit for days and it becomes stronger and the fruit begins to take on the color of the wine. You can do it with white or red wine. I did white wine and it comes out really good. So the next thing about Twilight that I really enjoyed, because it definitely was not the script, is the depiction of the vampires. I actually think, you know, this movie gets a lot of flack for the fact that when the vampires go into the sun, their skin glistens, or, you know, how cheesy some of the lines are that they throw out, or the fact that, like, this one family just happened to be vegetarian and only eat animals. It just, there's a lot of little cheesy things there, but I actually really like the vampires, and I like the mythology of it all. Like, I like the world that Stephanie Meyer, who's the writer of the book Twilight and the entire series, I like the world that she created. Yeah, it gets a little bit weird further on into the movie, and we're left with more questions and answers, but overall, pretty good. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's been out for years now. So, you're going to take this, and we're going to hopefully not make a mess, because this has been a disaster. Oh. Well, we're going to pour this one. And there you have your Edward Cullen and Bella Cullen, spoiler alert, sangrias. So overall, I would give Twilight 3 out of 5 fangs. It gets points off for cheesy story, poor direction, really bad one-liners. I mean, need I say more? Anyway, go watch it. Still on Netflix. And I'll see y'all later.